Hello, everyone. Welcome and thank you for attending CAMFest 40. My name is Christian Yao Weeks, and I'm the Program Assistant at the Center for Asian American Media. On behalf of CAM staff, I'm honored to be here with a chance to speak with Young Min Kim, the writer and director of his debut feature film, Dawning. Dawning is a Korean and English-spoken thriller that centers its attention on Korean American sisters Haejin and Soojin Park, capturing themes of depression, mental illness, and grief as they attempt to make sense of and function as adults alongside trauma. Before we begin speaking with our guest, Young Min, for CAM members and non-members alike interested in further supporting our organization and its mission, head over to cammedia.org for more information. Thank you. I would now like to begin our virtual Q&A session by inviting up Young Min Kim. Hello, Young Min. Thank you for joining us.
How are you? Good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. How does it feel having your film be featured at CAMFest 40?
Super exciting. It's my debut film, so there's a lot of emotions just kind of that's wrapped around this project. But I'm super honored and super excited to be playing on the virtual side for CAMFest.
Great. So first, I wanted to start at the roots of your film, Dawning. What inspired you initially to take on these themes of secondhand trauma and focus your film on a more peripheral subject,
Right.
as in like someone impacted from the sidelines of an experience?
I think there's a lot of movies that deal with trauma, especially kind of from the point of view of horror, and definitely has been done many times in Hollywood. But I feel like sometimes the people who are like what you said, like the secondhand trauma, like secondhand smoking, basically, right, of trauma, they don't really get highlighted as well. And I feel like sometimes those people have such really painful stories that they don't want to recall. Sometimes I feel like they don't feel seen, for lack of better words. And I just kind of felt like it's something that I wanted to show because it's something that I experienced. And for sure, it's great to see stories of what you represent and what you know of, but it's sometimes hard to see some of that in Hollywood for bigger movies lately. Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely refreshing to see. Was there anything that kind of pushed you to focus on this sister relationship and father-daughter relationship in your film?
Nothing specifically, but the root of the story kind of came from me looking around my friends and noticing that there is a lot of pain from the the female my friends that I have that are associated with their fathers, and I've had a couple friends who kind of had to deal with abusive fathers and abusive relationships, and just kind of hearing those stories, I was wondering how I can kind of put those into light and be able to at least give those people a way for them to see that there's also other people who are going through the same pain, and that they can all have a shared collective experience to be able to heal together and to kind of have a conversation together.
Awesome. For me, watching your film, mental health conditions and resources for Asian American women specifically came to mind. And I had a question. What messages do you wish to convey with your film in relation to dealing with trauma, and especially this like peripheral trauma and trauma related to, the experience of women in our community?
That's a tough one, because as a guy, it's hard to
Hmm.
relate 100% as from the female's perspective. So that's why even when we were trying to make this film, we were looking for partners, specifically female partners who can kind of come with us to guide us and be able to kind of point this in a direction that's not so male perspective heavy. So we spoke with a lot of friends, a lot of people who have gone through these painful situations, and uh, just be able to get their story as much as I can. I feel like I just kind of beat around the bush on that question.
Oh, no, no worries. Yeah, it's definitely hard to like capture subjects that we personally
Right.
don't identify with, but again, like you have like loved ones around you and people you can refer to. So
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
And then you also brought up this idea of horror and thriller as a part of your film, and it was really like refreshing to see it be connected to grief and childhood trauma.
Mhm.
As a storyteller, why does this particular genre speak to you, and what techniques did you rely on to capture this film's tone?
Goodness, I feel like my producer would be able to have a good conversation about this one. Because he was such a big part of how it kind of formed into a kind of horror related story. I
Mm,
think one of the ways that, especially being an Asian American, um, living in America and having to deal with these traumas and issues and kind of knowing that it's not really addressed, especially in society, as much as we would hope it would. I just felt like it's a great opportunity for us to kind of show how scary certain types of mental health issues are, such as depression, suicidal thoughts, and anxiety, that kind of get placed on a very fetishized platter to a certain point,
mm,
in certain media forms, but kind of using horror to kind of show the undertones of what people go through on a daily basis. The people who, kind of are like you see walking on the side, on walking on the road, and the people you pass by. Everyone kind of has a sense of pain. It sucks. It sucks to say this, but everyone has pain in their life, right? So being able to kind of show, that even though the world may seem like it's fine, not all the time, but fine most of the time, a lot of individuals around us are going through these painful situations that I feel like only like a horror movie or thriller is able to kind of quickly tell the audience that, oh, this is the type of trauma, this is the type of experience that they've gone through, without
mm.
having to give you a three-part movie, or like a 18 episode drama about pain, basically. So
Mm, definitely. Yeah, horror is definitely like a great package to put all these topics into. I
mhm.
feel
And
like
it's super easy too, right?
horrific themes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just super easy. Everyone just knows immediately that it's like they go into a movie. If it's a horror movie, they know what to expect. And because of those kind of pre-built in genre-specific tones, I feel like we can easily kind of put in our stories without having to kind of build up so much.
Mm,
If it was like maybe a drama, for example.
totally. So obviously this is your first time feature. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How was the experience having this be your first feature? And is there any advice that you could give to first time creatives?
Yeah. So when we embarked on this film, uh, about 4.5 years ago now, when I started writing it, it was originally supposed to be a short film, a short 20-minute film. So we kind of fundraised, uh, with some friends to kind of get a couple $1,000s to make this short thing. But as we started shooting and as we started kind of editing, we quickly realized that it could be a much bigger story, and also we had so much footage to work with. So it came down to an opportunity for us to make our first feature in the middle of a short film production.
Mhm.
So that was wild because we shot the entire film in less than 6 days, and I think because we had such a short film mindset, everything was guerrilla filmmaking. We were quick, like running and gunning. We were working off of like generators on the farm, and it's a fun experience, but it's definitely very difficult, having to get a short film and kind of extend it into a feature.
Yeah.
But it thankfully worked out for the best, and I think it was a great opportunity for us to just kind of explore longer form media as opposed to what we had originally planned.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and I think, uh, an advice for filmmakers, you said, who are trying to make features. Honestly, I'm the last person to ask because I went into this movie trying to make a short film and it came out with a feature film. So I'm not sure. I think it's just if you do have an idea, just go for it. I feel like funding and especially money is something that everyone is so worried about. And it is definitely a very, very real concern. But I feel like if you are a resourceful filmmaker, and you have friends that you can rely on and kind of pull favors from, it's definitely possible, but
Mhm.
definitely not easy.
Yeah.
Want to put that out there. Yeah.
Yeah, it takes a team.
Oh, for sure. My team has such a big heart for them to be able to work on this film with me, and I'm just so thankful for everyone. Yeah.
Are there any other remarks or things you'd like to share with the CAM audience about the production of your film? Any surprises or highlights?
Any surprises or highlights? Let's see. I think one of the things that I thought about a lot was, um, I think one thing I hope people can take away from watching this movie is we purposely didn't explicitly state that this was a Asian American uh, film. I feel like there are a lot of Asian American films out there currently that is like doing a great job at kind of like putting people and together, getting people together, and saying that like this is a film that kind of represents us. And uh, but then for me, I feel like especially making a film here in America, I feel like that might get old at a certain point.
Mm,
Where people will only like if filmmakers only make a movie just to say because there's people who look like us on screen and explicitly say that, I feel like it might get a little old. So in my head, the reason why I made this film without kind of like saying there's Asian actors, it's a Korean director, it's a Japanese DP, those are all great, but we want to focus on the story and have
mm,
these very traditional stories that Hollywood has seen many times for years, but with people who look like you and I, right?
yeah.
So I think I definitely wanted to push that on this film. It is made by Asian Americans, but
Mhm.
uh, I wonder how it can be created as and just seen just as a film with
Mm,
great actors who turned out to be Asians, right?
yeah.
So that's kind of the goal that we had for this film.
Hmm. Yeah, it was definitely refreshing. I think, like, again, it had like the film featured Korean Americans and
Mhm.
like I guess obviously like Asian related topics, but yeah, like I think the fact that you kept it more subtle and focused your attention on other factors
Mhm.
related to human experience and just family in general was really powerful. I think, yeah, it was an effective way of still telling an Asian American story without it being an Asian American
Exactly, for sure.
realistic.
Exactly.
So yeah, awesome. And then last question I have for you is where can we find more about your film? Any links to keep up with your projects and future endeavors?
Right. So my Instagram handle might come up in a second, but I don't know how to say it. So I'm just gonna be might be on screen if our friend can help us.
Mhm.
That's my personal Instagram where you'll be able to find the stuff that I throw up. But we also have the handle for the film, Dawning_film. You can also find more details on the film and catch us there as well.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Young Min. Thanks again for taking the time out of your evening to speak with me and
Of
everyone
course.
watching. I hope everyone attending as well had an amazing time tuning in, and I hope you all check out Young Min's film and enjoy all else we have here to offer at CAM and CAMFest. So, thanks again.